The aftermath of an Israeli bombing in northern Gaza as civil defense workers try to rescue the living. They say 4 members of one family were killed in this residential building. Israeli soldiers not far away, filmed by the IDF. They say they're targeting terrorist infrastructure. And in a raid on a school, say they found guns and ammunition. The hopes of peace, or a pause at least, that began this week are all gone. In the southern border area of Rafah, amid growing fear of the promised Israeli assault, the United Nations says more than 100,000 people have already left. Thousands more are packing up what they have to get on the move.
Last night, there was unrelenting bombing. We could hear it very loudly from our rooms or our dorms in the hospital. We are witnessing the killing of children, of women, of innocent men. These are people like you and I. They have committed no crime, many of whom have no political affiliation whatsoever with any group. They simply want to nurture their families and look after their loved ones.
American weapons supplies are on hold, but Israel's war cabinet has approved carrying on operations in Rafah. And Netanyahu chose the TV psychologist Dr. Phil to go over Biden's head to the American people.
We've destroyed about 20 battalions of the Hamas's 24 terrorist battalions. We have another 4 to go. They're in Rafah, and that's why we want to go into Rafah, because we can't leave them there. Basically, what they're trying to do is extort, blackmail us to leave Gaza, leave them in place, these battalions, and leave their leadership in place, and then they go in and take over Gaza again and do it again.
That will mean more of this. Families in mourning, wondering where to go and who will be next. Well, I've been speaking to President Biden's senior advisor on Middle East humanitarian issues, David Satterfield, who was until very recently also the special envoy to this region. I asked him how the humanitarian situation in Gaza had brought President Biden to his threat to withhold weapons for Israel.
This is by no means a withholding of U.S. military support to Israel. That support is quite robust. Some $800 million of weapons have just been approved and moved forward out of the $15 billion authorized for Israel. But the concern that the president is responding to is the impact upon that dense population of a ground offensive. These are people who have already been displaced multiple times. There is no adequate provision, in our view, for them, either in terms of shelter or humanitarian support, sanitation, water, feeding, medical care, should they be displaced again from Rafah. That's the first concern. Associated with that concern is the impact on the ability to deliver into Gaza and distribute within Gaza humanitarian support.
I mean, many people would say that's been the case for 7 months. So why is it different now?
We have seen progressive improvement in the ability to deliver and to distribute humanitarian assistance throughout Gaza, including to northern Gaza, where the needs were viewed as particularly severe as of several months ago. That's improved. The overall picture has been much better. It's not good enough. While famine has been averted, the risk of, indeed the reality of, malnutrition, wasting, disease is ever present. So more has to be done. But the consequences in this improved environment of a major dislocation of up to 1 million persons into areas where we do not believe the circumstances are fit to receive them, that is the immediate concern.
In the last hour, the United Nations General Assembly has voted overwhelmingly to ask the Security Council to reconsider whether Palestine should be given full membership of the United Nations. Now, the last time this went to the Security Council, the United States vetoed it. Can you see a situation in which that would ever change?
I do not see a situation in which that would change, minus a negotiated outcome for 2 states. That would change everything, but we believe strongly that only a negotiating process leading by agreement to two states, do you have a situation in which the state of Palestine can be admitted? And it is a Security Council decision, not one for the General Assembly.
Do you think it's a helpful diplomatic moment or a damaging one?
If you're referring to the action by the General Assembly, I think it is irrelevant to the current situation. It's political posturing. It doesn't assist the Palestinians. It doesn't assist in any form of resolution.
The border is effectively closed again to aid, and the United Nations and other agencies are warning that they are days away from running out of key supplies and power as well. I mean, what can be done to unblock that?
Well, the border is open. Kerem Shalom is open and functioning. There are logistics problems, some of which involve repairs to roads inside Gaza. That's an undertaking for Israel. Some, however, do not depend upon Israel. They are other states' willingness to continue to deliver assistance through Kerem Shalom or via the other open means, Erez crossing and other land crossings.
Ambassador, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees is the primary source of aid to Gaza. It has come under repeated attack from the Israeli government, alleging it is infiltrated by Hamas. Protests outside its offices in Jerusalem have turned violent this week, and yesterday it came under an alleged arson attack. Today it is shut down, but I went to meet its director, Adam Balouklos. So this whole thing was ablaze?
This was absolutely on fire, ablaze. I mean, high
Must have been
flames.
frightening.
It was very frightening, and a lot of smoke. And it started from about, just kind of, if you walk with me a couple of paces, there's a bus stop here, quite busy bus stop, and we have a CCTV footage of a couple of youth or youngsters, it's hard to know their age, standing around here, and that's where the fire started. And then I, from my office, took a fire extinguisher and started to put out the fire. It expired, I got another one. Colleagues then brought me other ones, but I was literally doing this myself. I'm the director of the agency. I'm hardly a fireman. I'm hardly trained, but you know, you do what you have to do to kind of protect the installation.
Why do they hate you so much?
So this guy's filming us here.
What are they saying?
Yeah, well, they were saying a lot of things like UNRWA is Hamas and down with UNRWA and close UNRWA. But this is not a new thing, right? This has actually been going on in Israeli politics for many years. But now we're seeing a lot of the kind of ramping up of the narrative against UNRWA.
And this is fed by Israeli politicians who
Absolutely.
say you are a wing of Hamas.
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, you can see it at the highest level, you know, that we're somehow, you know, there's no future in Gaza without, with an UNRWA. UNRWA is Hamas. You see the posters and things that they leave, the stickers they leave on our compound.
There's a General Assembly vote today about Palestine. You know, does that make UNRWA the focus of? Yeah,
for sure, for sure. I mean, UNRWA is at the sort of the knife's edge of this issue of the presence of the UN in Israel and in Palestine, and we're an easy target in a way because we're the agency that specifically focuses on Palestine refugees, unlike other agencies, and so you know we're seen as somehow part of the problem. If UNRWA goes away, then somehow the Palestinian refugee problem goes away, which of course is legally inaccurate. And we're here to provide support until there's a solution.